From Delaware's most award-winning radio news team, this is WDEL Video News. Here's Chris Carl.
Among Delaware's top stories for Thursday, June 7th, former county official Sherry Freeberry pleads guilty. The Democrats are looking at a primary for governor, and it's the death penalty for James Cook. Here are the details. Former Newcastle County Chief Administrator Sherry Freeberry has pleaded guilty in federal court in Philadelphia. Freeberry pleaded guilty to a single felony count of making a false statement to a federally insured bank for a purpose of securing a loan. In exchange, prosecutors have dropped remaining racketeering and fraud charges against her. The plea comes less than 1 week before Freeberry was to stand trial on racketeering and fraud charges outlined in a May 2004 indictment against Freeberry and former county executive Tom Gordon. Freeberry faces up to 30 years in prison and a $1 million fine. She'll be sentenced September 10th. Delaware's three-term state treasurer has made it official. He's running for governor.
Friends, today I'm announcing my intention to run for governor of Delaware in 2008.
Democrat Jack Markell used his website, markell.org, to make the announcement. Campaign officials say Markell is the first Delaware candidate to declare his candidacy on the web. Markell says he believes he can make a difference.
I still see so many things that need to be fixed, and I won't be satisfied until they are. Our next governor needs to do more to relieve the burdens of middle-class families. It starts with having the vision and know-how to attract the good, high-paying jobs that keep our economy vibrant. We need to improve health care for every family in our state. On education, we need to support our teachers and improve the quality of our schools. On the environment, we need to reduce sprawl and promote clean energy.
Markell won a third term as treasurer in 2006 with more than 70% of the vote, the highest winning percentage by any statewide Democrat candidate in decades. Markell's announcement sets up a primary with Lieutenant Governor John Carney. WDEL's legislative correspondent Carl Konevsky has more from Dover.
Before word spread, Carney says Markell called him to let him know his intentions.
Wasn't a lot to talk about. He talked about his interest in having a campaign on the issues, and I said I hope that would be the case as well. I told him that I was disappointed. It was too bad that we couldn't work things out.
In fact, Carney says he and Markell actually have more in common than issues that separate them.
I'm disappointed that it looks like we're going to have a primary now on the Democratic side for governor. We were working, a lot of people were working hard to try to avoid that, to try to work together as a team. Almost all the Democrats that I talked to over the last several months wanted to avoid a primary.
Governor Minner got one of Jack Markell's courtesy calls, sharing his plans to kick off his gubernatorial campaign.
I told him it was a shame we had to go to a primary, and he said, well, that's the way it's going to be. And I said, okay. And he said, I know you feel differently, but that's fine. I hope you still will include me and we can work together. And I said, of course we will.
Senate President Pro Tem Thurman Adams says he has a lot of respect for both Markell and Lieutenant Governor John Carney.
Both of them are very highly qualified candidates. They both have done more than what the code requires of them, and they're two good people, and hopefully that things will work out to everybody's satisfaction. And we have 15 months or more, so maybe things will still work out.
Adams, who also got a call from Markell, said he told him he appreciated the heads up, but stands by his endorsement of Carney. Reporting from Legislative Hall in Dover, I'm Carl Konevsky, 1150 AM, WDEL.
A judge has sentenced a man who killed a University of Delaware student to death. WDEL's Melanie Armstrong has that story.
36-year-old James Cook was given the death penalty in the May 2005 rape and strangulation of Lindsay Bonestall. Her parents say justice has been served.
If it was up to us, we'd have our daughter back, and that's all we'd want. That would be true justice. But we'll take this piece of it as closing a chapter in this book and do what Lindsay would want us to do, which would be to find a way to heal.
No one with a normal, happy childhood does the kinds of things that James Cook did. But the question is, how can we ensure that Delaware will be safe from what he might do in the future? And the death penalty is the only way to ensure that James Cook cannot hurt anyone else.
While he could expect this decision from the judge, it's difficult to appreciate it fully until it's actually announced publicly. So I think he's stunned.
The Reverend James Beardsley has been counseling Cook and talking with his family.
The family is devastated by the whole thing, not just for James, but also for Lindsay and the whole situation. And of course, they're dealing now with children and things that have to be under the stigma of an execution.
Cook's lawyers say they will appeal. All executions in Delaware are on hold pending the outcome of a lawsuit. Melanie Armstrong, 1150 AM, WDEL.
Who should pay for sidewalk repairs in Wilmington? WDEL News continues in a moment.
Looking to gain an edge in the technology or design field? Wilmington College's Division of Information Technology and Advanced Communications offers state-of-the-art facilities equipped with the latest tools. Achieve balance, achieve success.
A former candidate for governor can't find his children. WDEL's Carl Konevsky reports.
Frank Infante was a third-party candidate in 2004, battling Democratic incumbent Governor Minner and Republican Bill Lee for the state's top office. Now he's in another fight, saying he thinks his ex-wife, Melissa Simcox, has his two young children, 9-year-old Frankie Rose and 7-year-old Frank, despite Infante having legal custody. Infante says police haven't been able to find a record of the children being in school or of Simcox having a job.
To find nothing within a state this size is a pretty good indication that she's not in the state. Or, God forbid, that something more tragic has happened. We don't know that for a fact. The police believe that she's all right because they received a phone call from someone stating that they were Melissa Simcox and that she was all right, that the kids were all right, and that she wasn't coming back.
Infante went to get the children from school after getting custody last month, only to find they hadn't been in class since early February when Simcox picked them up. He says a truancy investigation had taken place, and despite several nasty family court hearings, he wasn't told they were gone.
I'm surprised that I wasn't questioned as to the whereabouts of the children and Melissa, in fact. It doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me that they let the trail go cold there.
Infante says he hasn't spoken to the children since January. Reporting from Dover, I'm Carl Konevsky, 1150 AM, WDEL.
The investigation into a bank robbery outside Wilmington continues. According to state police, a lone robber entered the Delaware National Bank Tuesday afternoon on Kirkwood Highway shortly after 2 o'clock. The robber handed a teller a note demanding cash, and the employee followed the commands, turning over money to the man. Witnesses are not sure what direction the man took off as he ran away from the bank. The city of Wilmington won't be able to hold property owners responsible for sidewalk maintenance. Legislation which would have done that has been pulled by its sponsor, Wilmington Democrat Dennis Williams. The city's charter, dating back to the 1960s, initially stated that Wilmington was responsible for taking care of sidewalks, but City Council passed a law soon thereafter making property owners responsible. The Supreme Court, though, ruled against that law. Williams says each state lawmaker is given $250,000 a year in community transportation funds, some of which goes to fix sidewalks. He says the legislature will look for other money, so Wilmington won't have to pass the costs on to residents. Well, the long ball helps the Phillies. WDEL Sports and your Delaware AccuWeather with a forecast coming up.
You could spend your money at the gas pump, or you could spend it on those sexy pumps at your favorite store. Let DART do the driving. Travel smart. Choose DART.
In WDEL Sports, Jimmy Rollins launched his first home run since late April, leading the Phillies to a 4-2 win over the Mets last night. Rollins' 3-run blast in the 7th gave the Phils their first lead of the game. Aaron Rowan added an insurance run with an RBI single in the 8th. Adam Eaton picked up the win while Antonio Alfonseca nailed down his 3rd save. The Phils go for the sweep tonight against the Mets with Cole Hamels going for his 9th win of the season on the mound against John Maine. Coverage on WDEL starts at 6:35. Even their best pitcher couldn't keep the Blue Rocks from getting swept by the Kinston Indians. Blue Rocks ace Rowdy Hardy was roughed up for 5 runs on 11 hits in a 6-4 loss to the Indians, who won all 4 games of the series. Hardy had entered the game with a 6-0 mark and a 1.21 ERA. The loss was the 7th in the last 8 games for the Blue Rocks, are now 4 games under 500. They hit the road for 7 games tonight, starting in Winston-Salem. Your WDEL Delaware AccuWeather forecast: mostly sunny today, high of 80. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 66. Tomorrow, sun and clouds, maybe a thunderstorm at night, and much warmer, the high reaching 92. Get news updates throughout the day. Delaware's top stories at the top of the hour on 1150 AM, WDEL, or anytime right here at WDEL.com, including news video from Delaware and around the world from WDEL and the Associated Press. I'm Chris Carl. Thanks for watching.